All right, I don't see anybody else in the waiting room, so we'll go ahead and get started just a couple of minutes after 8 o'clock. Thank you, ladies, for being here. And as most of you know, I am Beth McLaughlin McDonald. If you happen to be watching the recording on my YouTube channel and we have not had the pleasure of meeting before, I've been in the real estate investing space for, gosh, 2.5 years now. And I started off as a private money lender on a very small opportunity and realized very quickly that there were some steps being missed and some communication that wasn't exactly where I thought it should be with someone as a borrower with my funds. And had told that borrower, from the get-go, hey, if this works out and, we create a relationship and it's a good relationship, a good working relationship, this money is yours to rinse and repeat with, make my life easier, make your life easier. And that still didn't seem to be enough inspiration, I guess, for the lender or the borrower to kind of keep that relationship open and communications there. I had to chase to get updates and answers and things like that. And of course, the project ran late, and there were just a lot of things that did not feel like that was a very good from a customer service standpoint from that experience. So I took a step back from the real estate investing space and just started watching what other women were doing, women who were far more successful than me, with fix and flips. They were on their 11th or 12th property, or they were doing buy and holds and they had, 10 or 12 properties or, whatever that looked like. It was like, okay, I can't be who they are. I'm not going to waste my time and energy to compare myself to them and where they are in their journey, but I'm also not ready to take on the responsibility of a fix and flip or a buy and hold. So where can I provide value? So what I did was I just started reaching out to those borrowers and basically just asking the question, how are you growing your business? How are you scaling? What systems do you have in place? How do you keep your private money lenders coming back to do deals with you? And what I found was those borrowers, as well intentioned as they were basically treating their lenders the same way I was being treated. They were just too busy to keep up with the communication, keep up with the updates, the pictures, the walkthroughs, the interest payments on time, like all these things, because borrowers, as we probably know, are constantly communicating with their uh, their attorneys, their accountants, their GCs. They're dealing with something at one property and something else at another. So unfortunately, the easiest thing they could do, which is nurture the relationship with the private money lenders, was the one thing that was so easy it was forgotten. And I just felt like there was a space for my 35 years of corporate America operations, processes, and workflows that I could provide value to them in their business. So what I did also was, as I started watching lenders raise their hand and say, hey, I have money, I would reach out to them also and just say, okay, tell me a little bit about your journey because I know you were lending with someone before, or you even mentioned you just got funds back. Why aren't you funding with that same partner? I see them posting that they need capital. Like, why aren't you guys still working together? And some of the stories you may have heard yourself, you may have experienced them yourself, but some of the stories that I was hearing were a little unsettling, and they were experiencing the same thing I had. Nobody was communicating updates. You were finding out, the horror stories after the fact. One lady told me that she didn't hear from her borrower for the entire 6 months of the loan until the day before maturity when she's expecting to get her money back. The lender or the borrower reached out and said, oh, I've had to file for an extension. It's going to be another 90 days. I mean, imagine 6 months into a project, you think you're getting your money back the very next day, and all of a sudden they need it for another 90, and you barely even know who this person is. You don't know why they need the extension. You don't know if it's a legitimate need for an extension. You know nothing because there's been no communication. So, with that knowledge on both sides of the deal, basically, I just started offering my services to borrowers and saying, look, would you find value if I was able to help you manage that communication and that workflow, and help you remember when you need to send updates or remind you when you need to actually pay your interest payments and those types of things? Would that be valuable to you? And basically, it turned out that yes, I mean, the borrowers were trying to do, as women, as we all try to do, they were trying to do everything on their own. And we all can't do all of the things. Like we all have a piece of the puzzle that fits in place for a reason. We're not all cut the same exact same way. So if a borrower is experienced with working with GCs and I'm not, why not let them continue working with a GC and I'll help them stay organized in front of their lenders. So once that started getting some traction, then I started helping them actually raise the capital and secure the capital for their projects. So the lenders I had been talking to who are like, yeah, I lended, 50K and didn't hear from her for, 6 weeks, 8 months, I mean, whatever it was. So I basically put myself in between the two. And I've been a consultant in a consulting space since about 2011, but it's mostly been in the health and wellness space. My corporate career, like I said, was 35 years of operations and workflows. And I basically just started calling myself a consultant and I was connecting borrowers and lenders. And then lo and behold, found out there was an actual role called a connector in the real estate investing space. So I prefer to go by consultant, even though I am connecting borrowers and lenders, because as a consultant, I am staying in the deal from acquisition to exit. So if my lender is in a deal for 6 months, I'm in it for 6 months with them. I'm making sure that the borrower is living up to their end of the deal. And they're following the guidelines that were agreed to in promissory notes, in JV agreements, and or joint lender agreements, whatever those agreements are. I'm making sure that the borrower is sticking to them. And again, the goal is to create this rinse and repeat because my life would be easier if the borrowers who had my money communicated the way that I preferred them to communicate with me and I felt comfortable and confident with them so that when they came to me and said, "Hey, I'm wiring your funds back tomorrow," I could literally say, "Great, when's your next deal?" Because it's yours again. And I'll even throw in my interest. Go ahead and take it all. That's the goal. That's what I'm trying to accomplish here by making these connections and being a part of the process from beginning to end. Also, by being in the process from beginning to end, it does keep me SEC compliant. I'm not a broker. I'm not just introducing people who have money to other people and getting paid a fee for that. As a consultant, I am there with you and I am working pretty much a decent amount for the 6 weeks, or excuse me, the 6 months, 9 months, whatever the terms are. Um, so with all of that said, again, I hold these Private Money Monday calls every other Monday night. I haven't had them for a couple of weeks. I took a little bit of time off to work on some other things, and we're back at it. And you guys are here. This is my 1 year anniversary. I started these calls in May of 2025. I had some lender or some borrower partners come to me and say, I have they had 3 properties they were trying to close on within 30 days. And I was like, that's a lot, and it's a lot of moving parts. And I had been joking with my mentor at the time and saying, I just have this Private Money Monday in my head. And it just so happened that I meet with her on Wednesdays, and she's like, "Great, today is Wednesday. There's a Monday between now and next Wednesday. So tell me all about it on our next call." So I just kind of took it by a leap of faith, and we were able to fund those 3 deals. Knock on wood, 2 out of the 3 have closed, and we are just trucking along. And it was the best thing I could have done for my business. It's allowed me to meet some really amazing women, both on the borrower side, the lender side, some who are doing a combination of the two. And it's allowed me to grow my business in a way that I never anticipated. So, with that, if you saw my Facebook post or you got my email, you also saw that there were some hiccups along the way. As I was trying to build out systems and I guess like checklists and things like that for the borrowers, I myself did not have what I needed in place for the growth that I had. So when I dropped a couple of balls and some of my lenders were like, "Hey, this isn't what we signed up for," I was like, "You're absolutely right." So I took the time, I took the finances and put that into a company who is building out a portal for me. It's going to be a CRM that's actually run through Salesforce. The company building it out is called Left Main. They are real estate investors and they've created this CRM for their own projects and project management. What they're also doing for me is building out a back end side to that for borrowers and lenders. So there will literally be a portal that you can log into. And if you're a borrower, you'll create a borrower profile. If you're a borrower with a deal, you'll submit that deal there. We'll run it through underwriting. It'll go through a transaction coordinator just to put eyeballs on it, talk through exit strategies. And then if we decide to move forward and fund it, if someone is on the borrower side and has created a borrower profile and they have funds ready to deploy, then they'll see your full profile. They'll see your deal, your specific deal. There'll be your pitch deck can be uploaded in there. And as we go forward and say that deal gets funded, everything related to that deal will be in one place in the portal. It won't be a text message of your promissory note. It won't be an email with 45 pictures. Everything will live in one place. So if you ever say, oh gosh, I forgot, where is the final DOT? Where's the deed of trust? Or where's the mortgage? Or anything like that, it will always be in the portal. I learned quickly. I had one of my borrowers, one night I was with another borrower, and we were going to a Pace Morby event, as a matter of fact, here in Savannah. And we were just about to walk out the door, and my phone started going nuts. And she was like, what is happening? And I looked at my phone, and one of my borrowers had sent 45 pictures in a text thread with multiple lenders. And this was my time, so Eastern time zone, about 5 o'clock. So imagine as a lender, you're sitting in a board meeting and your phone, your Pacific time, so your phone is dinging 45 times in the middle of a meeting because you forgot to turn off the ringer. So I'm trying to create a place that just makes sense. And it's a professional place for everything to be stored and easily accessible if it's ever needed. And hopefully minimize some of the, constant dinging that we all get distracted by, regardless of what it is, email, Facebook, whatever that is. And also like clear up some space on your phone. You don't need all those videos and all those images on your phone when they can live somewhere else and you not have to worry about it. So more to come on that. I'm going to say I'm about 30 days out, and some of you have probably heard me say 30 days out for the past 90 days. I promise you we are so close. They say when you get to a point of pain where you just can't take the pain of where you are any longer, then you're actually going to take action on what you need to. So that's where I am. I am beyond the point of the pain of all the manual labor and work that I'm putting into managing all of the loans that we have out, all of the lenders, all of the borrowers, all of their projects, all of their scopes of work. So I am holding myself accountable, and you guys can hold me accountable as well. Because, like I said, I know some of you have definitely heard that from me before. So, with all of that, I just wanted to do a quick intro for those of you who might be new. For anybody again watching this on the YouTube channel who may not be able to be here tonight and we haven't met officially, someone else shared this video with you. I'm super excited to have a friend and a new business partner join us tonight and talk a little bit about a project that she's going to be working on. And we're raising capital for here in Savannah. So again, I'm in Savannah, Georgia. This project is here. I know exactly where this house is. I know the area well. I know her very well. I know her husband well. And I'm excited to be a part of this journey with them. And we'll go ahead and Griselda, if you want to jump in here for a second. And so Griselda's daughters are at a softball game, right? In the playoffs right now. So she jumped in the car to hop on our Zoom so that she could be here with us. And I told her, I said, ideally doing this from your cell phone, it's going to be hard with the pitch deck and things like that. But at the same time, if anyone relates to making it work, having to pivot when you have to pivot, this group of ladies is certainly that group. We're all well aware that there are times that you have to not come on camera because you're cooking dinner, or times that you have to stay muted because you're driving in the car with the kids, or whatever it might be. So, Griselda, first of all, I'm super excited to have you here. I'm really excited about this project. And if you want to do a little bit of an intro of yourself. Let everybody know who you are and how you kind of got to this space. I'll send your bio out with the recording either later tonight or tomorrow. But if you want to give us like a brief overview, and then I'll share screen and we'll go through your slides if that works for you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Can you hear me, by the way?
I can. Can everybody else hear? If anybody's having problems, let me know.
Okay. Well, I'm and I guess my girl your play. Otherwise, I would have just not come to the game, but they needed me here more than I needed to be here. If you have kids and you can understand that, they just need to know that mom's nearby. I'm sitting in my husband's truck because my car broke down, and he doesn't have AC. So
Oh
I'm cooking in
no.
here. So if you see me sweating, that's why I'm sweating. But it's okay though. We're gonna get through this. I didn't want to miss this. Thank you, Beth, so much for the lovely intro. I'm super excited about this project. But let me just kind of rewind a little bit how I got into this space. I actually was an environmental planner by California in 2012, and my husband was here in 20.
Hey, Griselda.
Here.
Griselda.
Yes.
You're freezing every now and then.
Yeah.
You were doing really good there for a second and then you froze.
Oh. Am I still frozen?
Not right this second. It was just kind of choppy. Like,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. It says that your network bandwidth is low. So let me ask you this. Can you maybe go off camera? I know that's not ideal, but that may take a little bit less of your bandwidth. Um,
Okay.
I'm sorry, everybody. I would love to have Griselda's face up, but I can go ahead and share screen also.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and
Okay.
share the screen. So you go for it and we'll see how that works out.
Okay. So yeah, then once I moved here, I started studying Savannah. Like you had to drive street by street because it was just so. One street were $1 million houses, the next were like $40,000 houses. So I had to study it like, and I wasn't from here. Then I came in contact with a group of investors out of Orange County. They had acquired a non-performing note here, a property here in the Victorian district. And so I reached out to them and I became their point of contact here. And then they hired me as their project manager. And that's how I kind of just dove into this. Um, and started with a historic home, which I learned so much. I acquired two more properties for them, kind of in the same area near like SCAD buildings. So those were flips, and they did really really well. And then from there, I started a painting company. I was like, okay, I'm gonna step back from the historic homes for a little bit because if you've been in a historic home built in the 1800s or early 1900s, that it it's a lot of fun stuff behind the walls. But everything went great, and then I had a painting company for about 7 years, and I just started painting commercial residential homes. Started doing renovations, like bathroom, kitchen renovations for clients. Interior design, and I always had a passion for design and construction. And I kind of the my insurance guy that where I had my business insurance through, he was the one that kind of started putting in my head, well, you're doing this and this, why don't you do design and construction? And I was like, huh, oh yeah, I am, I guess. So then I actually looked at a few projects with Beth, and I was like, okay, well, I think I'm ready to do something for myself. So I found this amazing property that is a dream. It is in a beautiful, beautiful little neighborhood, the streetcar historic neighborhood. This one has brick sidewalks and brick streets, and it's directly across the street from this gorgeous building that I believe somebody had told me that SCAD had purchased it and renovated it, and they converted it into apartments. And it's just stunning, a beautiful, beautiful building. Well, anyways, so that's the project that you're looking at right here, Jefferson Corner Revival. It's a two. It's a duplex. It has 2 units. I don't know. Did you want me to go into the details of the project?
Yeah, I can flip the slides, but actually I'm going to interrupt you for just a quick second. So there was a couple of things that you touched on, and I want to make sure that we're clear on a little bit of what you did. So one of the things that we talked about the other day was, and you touched on it, you were working with these investors in California, and you were working in a project management role. So you were kind of doing what it is that I do, but at a much higher level because you had the experience, you were in the houses, you were doing a lot more hands-on, you were at the properties every single day, making sure the work was being done so you could report on the work that was being done. So that's a great side of the business to know because now you know what the lenders are going to want to see and be aware of. So I just wanted to kind of, call that out. And then also you've mentioned SCAD a couple of times. So if people don't know what SCAD is, it's actually the Savannah College of Art and Design. It was started in Savannah in, I believe, 1989, and they now have campuses in Atlanta. There are several overseas. So if you're not familiar with what SCAD is, that is the Savannah College of Art and Design. So they've done amazing things with downtown Savannah, and they do own just about every other street corner. So the fact that Griselda got our hands on this particular corner is amazing. So, Griselda, with that, I'll let you. Oh, I went way ahead. Sorry about that. So, if you want to talk a little bit about the overview, the opportunity, and things like that, can you see this slide okay?
Yes, I can see it.
Or you can just
So
talk from what you already know if you want to do that, and then I can certainly jump in with some of the specifics if you can't see.
okay. So yes, this property we acquired it. It was listed for 425, and I think it had been listed for about 11 days. So I jumped on it when I found it. I jumped on it, and for the group of investors that I was working for, I looked for properties for them. So I don't know if you remember me saying that I had to study this Savannah street by street to learn what was going on. So from 20, maybe 16, I think, I tracked what houses were selling for, what the condition they were in, everything real estate. And so that's one thing I'm very good at, zoning and finding a great deal. So this one, it was listed for 425 and we got it under contract for 405. I'm anticipating that our rehab amount will be 150,000. And so yeah, the size of this property, because catty corner to it, there's new development. There's about maybe 4 or 5, they're like townhouses, or it's brand new development, and those are selling for like almost 800,000, and they're just like 2 bedroom 2 bath or 2 bedroom 1 bath. They're not very big. And this property in particular has 2 units, and they're about that size, the same size, but it has 2 and 1, and they're the downstairs is a 3-1 and the upstairs is a 2-1. So this project has the potential to sell for anywhere between 875 to, it says 950, but like a million. We've seen others sold for over $1 million. So the projected equity is 300,000 plus.
Amazing. Anything you want to cover on the location and zoning? I know you just touched on it a little bit, but is there anything else you want to add?
Yes, this home in particular is zoned TN-2. And with that being said, it can be a multifamily. The lot is a corner lot, so it's a lot bigger than the other lots on that same street. And directly behind this, like you cross the alleyway onto the other street, there's like a main house and a ADU, and I think it's a 2-1, that one, or a 1-1, but it's brand new construction. This lot in particular, it has that same potential to build an ADU, because of the zoning. It also can, you can have like short-term vacation rentals there. So yeah, I mean, the opportunities for this property just are amazing.
And did you just touch on the opportunities in the backyard for this one, the ground? Did you
Yes.
say,
So
sorry, go
the
ahead.
lot the lot being a lot bigger than and it being a corner lot, you can build um like a two units in the back with off-street parking. It's that big back there.
And if you know anything about Savannah parking, that is like worth its weight in gold because
Mm.
there is not enough parking anywhere. So if you can get off-street parking in the downtown Savannah area, or this is not far from the actual downtown. This is a streetcar district, so it's within a couple of blocks of it. That is super important and very valuable.
Definitely.
All right, you want to go over a little bit about your vision for the property?
So the spaces are definitely underutilized on this property. The kitchen is tiny, which I know that back in those days, the kitchen wasn't, they weren't very big. But there's so much space. The hallways are wider than your normal hallway. And with a little bit of kind of redesign of the floor plan, we can really, really maximize the space and create like a laundry area, a much larger kitchen with with a eat-in area. And what else?
Well, they have the washer and dryer in that little area too. Like crammed and whatever. I mean, the just that little space there at that back door just looks amazing. So I love the look of that for sure.
And even next to that space, there's another right in front of the bathroom. There's a bedroom, and then across is the bathroom. There's like another big space, bigger than your normal hallway. So it's very spacious, believe it or not. It is.
Very nice. All right, value creation, the good part.
Yes. So it's very dated. We discovered that the ceilings were dropped. So we're going to take the ceilings up. You can see the old picture rail, because on the top unit there like two portions of the ceiling fell, and you can see it's 14-foot ceilings on the top unit, and we're pretty certain that the downstairs unit also has the high ceilings, but because they didn't have like or to, I think, for energy efficiency or to keep it warmer, somebody told me that that's why they would drop the ceilings like that. But there's, for sure, the upstairs has 14-foot ceilings, because we uh we verified that on the entire second floor. And then I just wanted to kind of open the space up a little bit, and just really invest in the a little bit of the finishes and the function, to make sure that the space functions to the way people live today, not the way, back in the 1900s.
And then this picture that's on here, obviously this is an after concept, but I think you can see where the stairwell is. So basically that's the front door and the entrance to the second unit is right next to it. And you walk into a foyer area and then you go right up the stairs to the second floor. So you have two different, the duplex look and feel of that, but both entrances are right there on that front porch.
And that wraparound porch is just stunning too.
We'll drop the link to the Zillow listing so people can see like all of the pictures of like what it looks like right now. And then to be able to see, your concept pictures, it's going to be amazing. So, do you want to go a little bit over your project timeline? I know it's kind of like the 30,000 foot view, but it gives us some ideas of how we projected out that we're gonna make this a 9 month opportunity. Even though you feel pretty confident about the work that's going to be done, we just feel like it would be smarter to start at 9. And if we have to, ease back a little bit and we're able to get out in 6 or 7, that's great. But we would prefer to do that than do an add-on on the back end with an extension. So can you read this okay to kind of see the bits and pieces, Griselda, or do you remember kind of your phase one and things like that?
I can kind of see, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay, so first of all, I mean, I already have kind of like the design concept complete, and so I'm trying to get the things done so that the second that we close, we can hit the ground running and, apply for permits. And I've already had all the trades go through, and they're providing their quotes to me. I already have a few of them, so that's great. And because I've been doing this for several years now, I have an amazing relationship with my subcontractors, and through all of my projects, I never have a problem with scheduling. I never have a problem with if something comes up, they show up. Um, so that, to me, that relationship with my subcontractors is worth like so much. But yes, so then we would immediately demo, clean out the property, get rid of as much as we can, because I don't know how much will be left behind, but that's not a problem. We can take care of that. Start the demo. Framing, we will for sure make sure that the roof gets done so that we can protect the house from the elements. I don't see any active leaking or anything like that at the moment, but we're just going to make sure of that and have that done first. And then we'll just start with like the internal things, electrical, plumbing, HVAC. So we'll demo the ceilings, the walls, and just open the house up so that so that my subs can work through it a lot faster than if we still had all the old drywall in there. So then as soon as everybody gets their stuff done and we get through inspections and we're able to close back up, we will just get the drywall back up, insulate drywall, um, paint. I probably will paint right off the bat the exterior just to already, get people interested. And that will be pretty easy for us. So while we're doing demo inside, I will probably have like exterior paint going on because there isn't a lot of stuff that needs to be done on the exterior. And then so once we have drywall up, we will get all of our flooring, no, not flooring, like our trim work. Yes, flooring, baseboard, and then we can start getting all of our cabinetry installed, tile, and then probably paint at that point. No, paint before and then tile. Sorry, I'm like trying to visualize all of this on a whim. So yeah, I have the design pretty much already in place. So right now I'm just working on cabinetry, what cabinetry sizes, the design of the layout of the kitchen. And so that will already be on standby. So yeah, I'm pretty good at making sure that we have everything ordered, everything ready to go, so that once we are able to install, it goes pretty quickly from there.
Awesome. Thank you. I know that was hard to do from from your phone. Are your girls still playing? Is the game still going on?
Oh yeah, they're still playing.
Oh, wow. All right. So do you want to go over risk mitigation and a little bit of what went into like the underwriting and things like that?
Sure. So right now our primary exit strategy will be to flip. And that's the goal, to make sure that our investors are taken care of right off the bat. if we're able to roll it into a DSCR refi, we'll attempt that, just so that we can get to phase two of the project and develop the entire property. Um, but other than that, and should it be rolled into a DSCR, there's different paths we can take, whether it be a short-term vacation rental, just a rental, or rent by room. Because, like I said, there's SCAD buildings nearby, and they rent by the room in that area, and those properties tend to do very, very well. And I think that's all for this
This slide.
slide.
Okay. All right. And then Anthology is the name of your business. So tell us a little bit about that.
So the I came up with anthology because anthology, the meaning to anthology is a collection of stories and poems, and I feel like our homes tell the story of our lives, and it's not like the same story. We have children in our homes, so our home is designed, or it works for us a certain way. Like there's mud rooms, there's, somewhere for the kids to drop off their gear, or, their bedrooms are decorated, and it's very kid friendly. But then we go through different seasons, and, kids grow up, and then we're in our homes, by ourselves, or without the kids, or one kid or two kid. And then we customize our homes to fit our daily lives. For example, if you're just a working professional, and you want a beautiful space to make your morning coffee, or a beautiful closet to walk into your space. And that's kind of where I came up with the name anthology. Like, we just really, the our homes really collect our lives in them. And
I love that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think is this your last slide?
I
It has
think
your contact info on it.
oh, yes,
Um,
yes, it is.
and another shot of the home with some work on it, and other work that needs to be done. But I'm super excited about the project, and again, the fact that it's probably a 15-minute drive from my house in downtown Savannah. So I can be boots on the ground at any time, and can certainly, do videos and walkthroughs and things like that at any moment. So I'm excited to be part of the project as well. I'm going
Yay.
to stop sharing screen. And then Griselda, I don't know if you want to try to come back on video. Um, I know you're sitting in a truck with no AC at a softball game on your cell phone, and we were just making it work. Like we said at the very beginning. I mean, we all have to pivot sometimes and make it work when we can. Um, so is there anything else that you want to add? And if not, we'll go into like a Q&A. I think, okay, it looks like you unfroze, so I think we're good right now. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
You kind of touched on it, but I did want to mention that like when I worked for the group of investors, I used to prepare the timeline, the scope of work, and I used to have to make sure that that coincided with the funds that were being drawn for the project. And kind of like what you would do, I had to make sure that I updated my investors, and they weren't checking on me and making sure that I checked on the contractor. I just did that, and when I requested the funds, they were just confident that I made sure that whatever was to be done before they received that draw, that it was complete. And so that is something that I'm very grateful, that skill set I'm very grateful to have, because that is going to, I mean, I do it for my projects, but I work with clients. So this is a little bit different, but the same. But I'm glad that I'm able to, create my scope with my draw schedule to make sure that everything is moving along, because everybody knows money moves projects. And so I want to make sure that we're moving perfectly.
I love
And
that.
that's all.
And you have provided a great scope of work for all of the work that needs to be done, like the line items and everything were amazing. I don't know that we've seen something quite that clear. And you told me a little bit about the platform that you guys use, but it's super helpful. And so what you are actually going to do also is take that and then apply it to your timeline so we could see a little bit better how those draws will be broken out. We also talked about me managing those draws on behalf of the lenders, unless we have a lender come in who wants to manage that themselves. We have had lenders who've done that in the past also, as well as the interest payments. So that's just a part of the conversation that we'll have as lenders, raise their hands and want to be a part of the project by being a private money lender, and locking arms with us. I am going to jump. I think, Caroline, you came off mute or camera a second ago, didn't you? Did you want to jump in and tell a little bit about the underwriting on the project and the transaction coordinator side of the project?
Sure.
Hello.
Okay. We underwrote the project to make sure that we had a viable exit. So at first we were looking at the DSCR loan, but what originally we wanted to borrow was not going to be, it was going to be too high. And the rents were not going to be able to support that when Griselda went to refi. So our underwriter went back and told us like we had to tweak. What did we change the rehab a little bit?
We
What
kept
did
the
we change? How
rehab.
did we change?
Rehab still 150.
Okay, but we changed the exit. We changed the exit. So
Correct.
so yeah. So we changed the exit to a fix and flip. And Griselda can probably refi. I don't know if it's going to be a DSCR loan. It could be probably a regular loan. But DSCR might not support that as the exit.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of what we went through at first, like the whole process of underwriting the exit. Because we have to underwrite the project, but we also have to underwrite the exit to make sure that we don't over leverage the property and that we have a clear exit for the lenders, which is what we did. And yeah, I'll be working on the docs like always. If any of you ladies have self-directed IRA funds, I will work with self-directed. We sent out a master promissory note, so everybody will be on the note. And then Savannah is an attorney state, so the attorney will be working on the deed of trust, which everybody will be recorded in first lien position. We will have title insurance. I'm not sure how we're structuring the draws. So that is all to be determined. I think maybe Beth will be managing the draws. We can also, this is something that I just did on a deal that I closed a couple weeks ago. I didn't know this was possible, so we can implement it. We can add in the title insurance, we can add a clause that before we release any draws, they run a lien search to make sure that during the duration of the rehab, there was no contractor lien or anything put on the property. So we know it's clear. And it takes like 24 hours. They do it as part of the title policy. So it went very smooth. I already had one done and they ran it. And like by the end of the day, they were like, there's no liens on this property. And we released a second draw. So that's something that we can also structure into the deal. We will have builder's risk, insurance, and I think that's it, right? Did I cover everything?
I think so. Just to kind of dig in a little bit more about helping with docs and things like that. I mean, that's so important. And, as part of
Yes.
protecting the asset, protecting the lenders, protecting the borrowers also, and that you do jump in, you reach out, you start working with either the title company, or if it's a mortgage state like Georgia is, you start working with them. And all of that flow is something that Caroline, I mean, not only is she a capital raiser, but she also does that transaction coordinator side so that if it's something new, if you're using a self-directed IRA for the first time, Caroline's really good about what we need to do and how the documents need to be structured, how your name needs to appear on the documents and things like that. And I mean, literally, there have been times that we've just said, hey, introduce us to your point of contact and we'll take it from there. So it's just an
Yes.
email thread with me, Caroline, the lender, and the point of contact with whatever the self-directed IRA is. Or, Caroline just kind of takes it and runs with it once that original introduction is made and it's clear that the lender has asked for Caroline or me to intercede for them. So it just helps the process. And then again, at the same time, on the back end, Caroline helps with payoff statements so that when we get closer to the actual exit on the back end and maturity comes along, she knows exactly like what needs to be reported to make sure that lenders are getting their entire, principal, any interest that they're owed, any fees, any points that are being paid on the back end. All of that gets buttoned up. She again works with a closing attorney or with a title company to make sure that all of that is correct so that everything is dispersed at closing. So there's nothing that needs to happen after the fact that, the borrower just sold a house and made a $300,000 profit. And now all of a sudden you can't get your money back. So Caroline manages all of that on the front end and the back end to make sure that everything is dispersed accurately and appropriately. So
Yeah.
I think that's everything with that. So I guess at this point, I would love to open it up if anybody has any questions that they want to ask specifically. We didn't actually talk about terms. I know I touched on that it will be a 9-month term, 12% APR, so paying 1% per month for that, and 3 points upfront at closing. So again, when we talk about disbursement, Caroline will handle those 3 points getting dispersed appropriately to self-directed IRAs or back to business accounts and things like that. I want to note one thing really quick before I forget. I was on a call prior to this, and we were talking about funds versus private money lending, and one of the conversations was around self-directed IRAs. And self-directed IRAs are very specific about going into joint venture agreements with other lenders. So Caroline actually has also worked with uh, a private money lender's specific self-directed IRA, and we've created a joint lender agreement. And that is something that the self-directed IRAs allow because it's not a joint venture partnership. It's a joint
Right.
venture, or excuse me, joint lender agreement. And they're two very different things. And from an SEC perspective, we have to be super careful with that. So we do have the approval from a self-directed IRA that that's the way that it can be done if multiple people are coming in with self-directed IRAs to fund.
Yeah.
Um, with that, does anybody have any questions? Wow, we all did so good. We covered all the questions.
I do want to say, I think the terms, I know you said we didn't discuss them. So we were thinking 3 points paid in the front, interest only monthly payments, and probably 6 to 9 months, right? I know, Griselda, you think we could get out in 6, but we should have that possibility to extend for 9, right? Because we just need to allow for the rehab to be completed and then whatever the days on market are going to be, which I believe we said it was about 60, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So, realistically, I'll probably go a little bit over 6.
Fair enough. And then we are looking to close at the end of this month. So in about 2-ish weeks or so. So we're
Mhm.
excited to get this one funded and obviously to work with Griselda here again in Savannah. So I'm excited to be a part of the journey. If anybody, has any other questions, anything they want to ask Griselda or Caroline or myself, we're certainly happy to answer those questions. But if not, we'll wrap it up. We'll send out the deck that Griselda covered tonight in the follow-up email. It'll also have the link to this recording. So if there's anything that anybody wants to go back and cover, you can certainly do that through that. But any last questions before we wrap up? All right. Well, then we'll go ahead and call it. Griselda, I hope your girls came out strong at the end, even though you might have missed their comeback, but hopefully they had a great game. If not, thank you so much for taking your time out of the night with your family to be here and present. We're super excited for you.
Thank you.
All right. You guys have a good night. Thank you.
Good night, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.